Welcome to Reality Fighter TV. In today's tutorial, I want to share with you 10 basic palm strikes that I feel are the most generic strikes to teach a beginner whose martial arts training focuses primarily on self-defense and reality-based fighting and crime prevention. In other words, these techniques are used primarily for street-oriented purposes where you're not going to be wearing any safety equipment such as hand wraps, MMA gloves, and boxing gloves. Also, furthermore, I want to let you know up front that this video is designed to teach the most generic variations and concepts as much as possible. It's not designed to teach power. It's not designed to teach the most precision movement. However, though, these concepts will eventually be adapted to all closed strike or fist strike training. So I want to remind you up front to focus in on the speed of palm strikes, not the power. Think about learning this in the most generic fashion as possible. You want to have techniques that are easy to learn, easy to apply, that most people in all cultures can use relatively quickly, regardless of size, age, and gender, and experience. All right, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share it with your friends. So let's get ahead and go into the 10 basic palm strikes that I feel are the most generic and most important ones to learn right up front. Before we get into the actual 10 different palm strike variations, the first thing we have to adopt is a functional fighting platform. All right, so that's obviously easy to understand. So a functional fighting platform is obviously having one leg behind you in here, either whatever side you want to adopt. Right. So remember, we're trying to keep this very generic in fashion in here, right, and not get into the very specifics of the advantages and the disadvantages of standing left or right or what have you not. So we have to have a functional fighting platform. So you need to have a drive and a brace leg in here, something that's going to brace you into the earth, allow you to generate or resist against force. Okay, so pretty self-explanatory. You want to have a wide enough base in here where you're relatively stable right now. You're not going to be moving around. All right, we're going to say that we're relatively close to our target here. We can just reach out and lash out and hit them quickly in here. Remember, our goal is to emphasize speed, is to cut down the time frame it takes to move from point A to point B in here to deliver a technique. In other words, we want to try to make it as economized motion as possible. Okay. So, knees bent obviously in here like this, right? Chin relatively tucked down if possible, and bringing the arms up in a position in here where you can access both left and right sides relatively easily. Okay, so what that means is that you want to have your hands, your guard, how you hold your hands, in a position where you can access them relatively quickly without having to move them first in here. So for example, let's show what it is not. I would say I don't want my hands starting down here, all right, because I'm going to have to actually bring them up into position and fire. Okay, so unless there's an obvious reason to put my hands down here, I just get caught off guard. I mean, I'm talking to somebody and I have to react from here and just bring my hand up in here, right? Assuming I'm facing my adversary here front and center, I want to bring my hands up here like this. Don't turn them in here like this. Don't make fists, obviously, because we're doing palms in here. But bring them up in a position in here where your thumb's right about, mouth, chin level in here like this, keeping your hands open. You want to kind of have a V type of position. You don't want them too far back like this, and you don't want them too far extended out here. You don't want to have them crossed up in here like this, right? Remember, think about it. You need to have offense and defense, quick accessibility of both hands relatively quickly. Okay. The next thing is all palm strikes are going to be delivered in either a vertical fashion where the fingers are running at 12 o'clock. Right, and the bottom of the hand is running at 6, right? Or they're going to be delivered slightly horizontal in here, like this, right, along the horizon here, right? Even if it's turned outward like this, that's still considered delivering in a horizontal fashion, right? So depending upon your articulation of your shoulder in here like this, right, they're going to be here, or somewhere kind of in between, okay? Whether you're going into the head, right, or you're going into the body in here like this, right? Right, all palm strikes are being delivered either circular, right, or vertical in here, just like fist strikes. Okay, so that's the basic idea of kind of putting yourself into a functional stance in here, where you can reach out with either hand without moving your body too much, right? Moving around circular in here, coming outside the body parameter, right? Or delivering it right down the center, linear here like this, like a pushing type action here. Even coming underneath like this, right, is considered a circular strike in here because it's coming around the body parameter like this. So now that we have that understood in here, let's go ahead and get into the first palm strike. Okay, when delivering palm strikes can be viewed, or at least I view them in two ways of delivering them. You can actually deliver a palm strike where you're focusing on specifics of the hand, right? In other words, I'm trying to actually take, a certain area of mass in my hand in here, right? Particularly like the size of a quarter or a 50-cent piece, right? And deliver it, right, into, into the target, like into the chin, into the nose, into the eyes, right? Coming around on the side of the head, right? So that's more about what I would say more of a palm strike that's locked down into a specific, action here. So there's a lot more emphasis on driving that technique in here, similar to a punch, in here like this, okay? Then there's also what I define as slapping techniques in here, where I'm not really emphasizing any specifics on the hands. I'm not trying to flex the wrist and lock it in, right? Like a palm strike, if I'm going to hit hard, let's say like a palm hook in here, well, I want to lock the wrist down, right, and really lock that thing and hit with the bone of my hand in here to cause damage, right? A smaller surface area, right, hitting the target in here, right? Similar to a knuckle in here, right? It's going to do a lot more shattering type of effect, all right? So that's one way to look at palm strikes, right? A slapping type of palm strike in here is where I'm not focused on specifics of the hand, but I'm focused more on just hitting with the entire hand, the palm itself. So almost like I'm trying to let palm a basketball here, open up my hand real wide in here. I'm not really concerned about where I'm hitting him here on my hand per se, and where I'm hitting him, in the target. As long as my hand makes contact in here, and creates a high, a fast velocity in here like this, right? That's all I really care about in most generic form, right? So if some people are more advanced, right, then they can focus on, hitting more specifically. But really the bottom line is eventually you're going to need both. And there's going to be both in this video and here. Sometimes you just can't avoid it. But there is a difference between hitting with a slap that focuses more on speed and takes the mindset off power. Okay, so again, if this is for somebody who's very beginner, has no training whatsoever, and what they need is speed and they need a degree of power. And what happens is that most of the times when you start focusing on trying to hit hard and using, emphasizing specifics, most of the times people get real rigid and they slow down. Okay, when the goal is to create shock, speed and surprise. I want to get that hand in there very quickly in here, right? Because what is the advantage of a palm strike? One of the primary advantages of a palm strike is I don't need to be perfectly accurate. If I just get something in here like this, not only is the mass of my hand going to make contact in here, but I may get a finger in the eye as well, just by, accident here. Okay? As opposed, if I'm trying to deliver a specific on my hand, let's say if I'm coming up to the chin, trying to deliver a vertical type palm strike in here, right, and my fingers are pulled back, I may not, get into the eyes in here. This may glance off, right? But if I just kind of let the hand kind of find its natural contour like this, right? Our hands don't naturally hang like this, or wrists, right? They have a natural contour. And I just aim that basically at the target in here like this, right in here. I'm going to hit, pretty much with anything, and I don't really have to focus on accuracy. Okay? So what are some of the advantages other than just being, you don't have to be accurate, with the hand, with the palm in here, right? Some of the other advantages is that I don't have to really rely on tension. I can just kind of deliver something out here. As long as something is getting out there relatively quickly and get my opponent to react, that's going to buy me a moment to either follow up with a harder technique in here, right, or at least give me a moment to run or escape if the situation allows me to do it. Okay, all right. What's another advantage, right? I don't have to worry about damaging the hand. I don't have to worry about damaging the hand so much as far as my metacarpal bones if I didn't hit perfectly with a fist, right? Now remember, this is obviously for the street. Okay, so you don't have hand wraps, you don't have gloves on in here, right? So if you have gloves on, this video doesn't apply to you. But having gloves on in here, even if you're making a fist, right, you can kind of hit any way you want and not really going to have a problem. You take the gloves off, you know, one wrong mistimed punch in here like this, right, or the guy drops his head down, right, and you make contact and hit him on the top of the head, right, hitting somebody in the head is like hitting a bowling ball, right, someone's head, someone's skull, a human skull is like hitting a bowling ball wrapped with flank steak around it, if you would, okay, so you need to take into account, you know, that people may move and, you know, duck in and charge in here, and a lot of times you don't have time to time that fist in here like this. Sometimes all you can do is just get something out there, even if it means just hitting them in the body in here, right? Now some people are going to say, well, that's not going to be very powerful. It's probably not, right? But the goal is not to create power. The goal is to create speed, right? Speed of thought and action. Just get something out in here, right, that resembles, you know, a linear type of action, right, or a circular type of action. Okay, so we're not relying on strength or power, we're relying on speed and the willingness to take action here when we see it, you know, we see fit to do so. Okay, so just remind you in here like that, you know, in the most generic hostile situations, you're not going to have time to stand back and get into a fighting stance and hit the guy with perfect accuracy and hit out here like you can do, you know, in sport fighting or hitting a bag, right? So most situations are, you know, are relatively really close in here like this, where I got my hands up, or I may not even have my hands up. I'm trying to diffuse and de-escalate the situation. Something, you know, I need to react out of nowhere. A lot of times I'm defending myself first, but for the purpose of this video in here, right, if I have to take action really quickly, I just need to get something in his face in here relatively fast in here like this. Okay, I just need to react really quickly in here and be, you know, relatively accurate and relatively fast. And remember, the goal is to create speed, shock, and surprise. Is it going to knock somebody out? Probably not. It's possible, but probably not. Right? But unless you have a, you know, quite a bit of striking training and you're relatively strong, you're probably not going to create a whole lot of force. Okay? So this is the template, one of the templates that I use to eventually advance somebody into hitting with closed fists once I feel they're comfortable to do so. Okay, so we work on things like the bob dummy, which I can work on accuracy, right? It's relatively forgiving in here. We're not working on heavy bags and stuff, right? So that's one of the advantages of kind of using palm strikes and kind of softer safety equipment in here when you're teaching a beginner who's focusing on reality-based martial arts and self-defense purposes. Okay, the first palm strike that I usually teach is what's called a linear palm strike in here, right? In other words, linear means that it's coming off my shoulder lines and it's going to the target. It's delivered right along center line like this. So if you don't know what a center line is an imaginary line that connects me directly to my immediate adversary in here, assuming I'm facing him forward in here, and it puts me in a position of strength and power and gives me kind of a guideline of where my limbs are, right, and also puts me in a position where I can kind of follow that guideline and follow a good power line or a good, you know, strong driving line of force to the target, right? So the first one is considered a vertical palm strike. Like I said earlier, palm strikes can be delivered either in a slapping variation or actually a kind of a more of an impact oriented variation. So the first one is a vertical palm strike. So we're going to kind of start to create more of the slapping version first, right? Now the slapping version first, and it's also in the description below, is what I define as called a speed hand strike. And a speed hand strike is probably, from what I experience, is the fastest strike you possibly can deliver short of a finger jab. Okay, so we're not doing finger jabs, and it's a totally different concept in here. We're just taking the palm. And a speed hand strike is, like I said earlier, is just taking anywhere the mass of my hand, right, and just delivering it to the target like this. Opening up the hand real big and not concentrating on specifics in here, and just hitting anywhere I can, you know, aiming in the nose, eye area in here, just trying to get the guy's head to snap back or get him to react. Right? So it's not concentrated on trying to lock the wrist in here like this and drive something specific. That would be a vertical palm strike. Okay, so that is a variation of it in here, but all I'm trying to do is just keep obviously my hands up, my knees bent, relatively close to the target, right? We're not trying to teach to cover ground right now, that's a little too advanced for beginners, but just to have the knees bent in here, have the palms up in here like this, right? And just drive something straight out in here relatively fast. All I'm trying to do is keep the armature as relaxed as I possibly can. One of the secrets to speed, without getting into the specifics and stuff, because that's a whole other deal, is to take the mindset off of trying to hit fast and focus on staying loose. In other words, don't contract your muscles before you go. You only can contract on impact. Remember, this is happening a fraction of a second, right? So all I'm trying to do is just take my elbow and extend it out here as fast as I possibly can. Okay, so whether you get that power through rotation or stepping through locomotion, that doesn't make any difference right now. You're going to probably do a little bit of both. But the goal here is just to get this hand out here as fast as I possibly can. Bang, right, out and back. And if I catch him with my hand turned outward like this a little bit, so be it. Right? If my elbow wings out a little bit, so be it. Right? Remember, the end result is all that matters. The end result is that it was effective, it did what it needed to do, right? And you were able to escape and survive this scenario, okay? So anything that works, ATW, anything that works, really, and the end result is all that really matters, right? Now, if I can avoid it in here, not always possible, is I don't want to glance off in here like this. So some people will, not be accurate at all, and they'll swap the action like this, okay? So slapping techniques can also be defined as sometimes people swat, right, like a fly swatter. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is drive a kind of a pushing type of action in here like this. So sometimes under duress, people will swat a strike in here like this. And that starts to become a circular kind of erratic motion. We don't want that. What we want is a nice straight line going out and back to the target. Bang, here, right? Bang, like this. Both off either side of the body, okay? So if I stood into, put my right leg back in here, right, that would be coming off the rear side of the body, bang, in here like this. Just kind of get the hand there really quickly in here. If I flip my legs around, it doesn't change what I'm doing with the arm mechanically. All it's changing is putting the right arm closer to the target. That would be our lead side, closest weapon and closest target principle whenever possible. Right? And so it allows me to, get there, even a little faster because my front hand is closer to the target here like this. Okay? So this can be done from both sides of the body, and I advise you if you're a beginner to practice from both sides of the body in here. It does not matter the stance under these circumstances in here. Right? So if I did it with the left, my left side as my lead in here, right, it would look, like this. My hand goes from right here, right, bang, out and back, right, in here like this. Just try to keep the hands very relaxed, the shoulder very relaxed in here, right? Some people, a lot of times, what they'll do is they'll curl those shoulders in like this, right, for kind of subconscious protection reasons. Just bring your arms up in a natural fashion, like if you're going to shake somebody's hand, you don't shake somebody's hand like this, right? Very loose, try to relax the neck in here, and just deliver the thing straight up, right? Take some time in between attempts, and deliver it here, right? And that's a basic vertical palm strike, aka also known as a speed hand strike. Just trying to shoot the hand out as fast as I possibly can, not trying to concentrate on locking the wrist and hitting with specifics. Okay, so go ahead and give that a shot, and let's go on to the second palm strike variation. The second palm strike is a vertical palm strike. Now this is the one I'm emphasizing from the previous clip, that you're actually going to focus on specifics. Okay, so why do you want both? Right? Well, you need both because the first one, the speed hand strike, focuses on speed, right? Speed and directness, right? It's like having a sword out here in fencing and just trying to get that thing in there very quickly to create, a stabbing or a shocking type of action, right? It's to kind of initiate, okay? The vertical palm strike is going to focus more on driving into a specific area of the body in here like this, right? And locking the wrist in here, right? So it should have more power, right? If you got the velocity behind it. So what I recommend is kind of think about, if you had a quarter right here, right? or a 50-cent piece, and you just drew a circle around it, outlined it like this. I'm actually locking the wrist in position, right? And I'm just kind of flexing my hands and fingers like this, right? It's not like this, right? Depending on your flexibility, some people only here, some people go here, but I'm just locking the hand in like this, not trying to close the fingers, not trying to splay them real big. I'm just locking in here, right? And all I'm trying to do from this position in here is, like if I had a laser pointer, is just drive it to the target like this and drive the head back, right? So I'm trying to catch him in the chin. I might catch him in the nose, the mouth in here, right? Just shooting it straight out and back in here like this, right? Okay, so this is a very common one you'll probably see in a lot of self-defense classes or seminars, right? Very generic in here, highly effective in here, right? But again, it doesn't quite, and unless you're super fast in here, most people are going to slow the technique down, right? And try to telegraph the blow and generate more power, which is great if you have the time frame to do that. But assuming your adversary is ready for you, or you're intimidated by him, and if you feel like you need to take action quickly in here, right, you obviously don't want to pull back and wind up where he might be able to capitalize on your action and then before you actually make contact. So again, knees bent, right, arms up in here like this, not too far out, and just extending the elbow and the lat, forward in here like this, right, delivering it coming under here, right. If you're a smaller person and you're, he's much taller, you're probably going to be coming more up like this in here, like that, right? So, right, instead of coming, depending on the height of the person, right, if you, weight really tall, you might be coming more up like this, right? The mechanics don't really change that much in here, so like that, okay? You definitely don't want to bring your shoulder up and deliver it more flat like this and really put your shoulder in a bad spot on the point of impact. And you want to emphasize on not hitting, obviously hit with the fingers in here and really bend your fingers in here, right? But just try to keep your hand again, wrist and shoulder relatively loose before you deliver the technique. Step forward if you feel like you have to in here, but really just coming underneath in here. Okay, so the second one is the vertical palm strike, right? As opposed to the speed hand. There's a big difference in the mechanics of where the wrist is going to be. Bang versus bang. Okay? So if it was from the rear side of the body, right? Switch the stance around, right? The only real difference is you're just going to rotate your upper body more. Like that, right? No real difference in the mechanics of what the arm is doing. Okay, so that is the second palm strike, a vertical linear palm strike. The third palm strike is what I define as a horizontal palm strike. Okay, now this one is going to be coming primarily off the rear hand, but all palm strikes, all strikes should be delivered or practiced from both left and right sides of the body. But for simplicity purposes, we're going to primarily use this technique off the rear side of the body. So the hand is going to inwardly rotate, and we're going to bring that palm horizontal along the horizon like this, right? Now, so what you want to do is just wherever your shoulder feels comfortable is just bring the arm out a little bit like this, right? Don't overdo it. Don't turn the palm in here, but at the very least, at least get it somewhere where it's kind of level like that. Okay, again, the palm is hands relatively open in here like this. Now this one in here, you are going to emphasize on just trying to hit, with the inner surface of the hand right here like this, okay? So this one should be kind of emphasized on delivering, more power. It's going to have more power because it's coming from further away from the body, right? So there's more commitment, in here, right? Coming further away from the body, more distances traveling here, pick up more velocity, all right? Now when you do this in here, it's really important. This one can be tough to do. A lot of mistakes when delivering this technique, right? But basically what happens is that what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to wing the arm to the outside of the body like this. I need to get the arm here. And why I'm doing that, what that's for is to take advantage of more torque, right? More rotation, which is torque. Think about swinging a baseball bat, right? If I bring the baseball bat out here, I got a lot bigger distance from the center of rotation, which would be my spine, right? This would be the center point right here, and coming further out here like this. I can create a lot more impact from out here as opposed to keeping it in close like this, okay? So we want to take advantage of bringing this palm strike out further and rotating it across the body, right? So imaginary line like this, I'm trying to bring it across the center of my body and form an X, right, in here like this, bang, in here like this, okay? Right? What I don't want to do is keep my elbow down and try to bring my, doing this, right? Just, okay, some people are going to go, well, I got my hand up like that in here, so I guess that might be it. No, what you're doing is you're just wasting motion. This motion here, just trying to do this, is basically the same vertical fashion. What you're doing is you're adding more motion to it in here, not getting more effect. So you actually want to bring the elbow out like this, okay? So it is more visible. Right? It's more telegraphic. More telegraphic meaning it's more a warning sign. But I'm doing it on purpose with the intent, right, is that I hit you with something quickly in here, right, and you're already shocked, and I can follow up with a harder technique. Or it just may make sense in that moment that I feel that you're not ready. He's not ready in here, right? My knees are bent, my hands are up in here. Maybe he's not ready, right? And maybe he threw a technique and I had to defend myself first. It may make sense because he's not ready. It's just to bring this arm out and smash him from here like this, right? If he's not ready for it, but then by all means take your biggest baseball bat possible and knock a home run out of him. Okay. So basic mechanics in a heart like this, right, is you need to rotate from here, right, your T-spine, and use your hips to some degree in here like this, right? You want to create a swiveling action like this. Okay. Stable to the ground, right? Not trying to cover any distance. Right, and all I'm doing, I'm just bringing this arm up, so I'm getting the one motion here, okay, and I'm kind of just creating a laser pointer coming right off my shoulder, right off my shoulder, right, I'm not coming from the center of my body, right, so don't deliver it from here, you're gonna have a swatting motion, right, it's kind of like doing tricep push downs in here, not a lot of strength there, and bring this thing out, all right, and just let my head pivot in here, okay, so from here, I'm going to bring it out, here, 1, fire. So it's 2 steps of action, okay? The other techniques are 1 step of action here, the first 2. So from here, 1, all I'm doing is I'm just leaning a little bit, rocking into it on the front leg a little bit, not getting my back leg off the ground, here, up, fire. And then come back. Up, fire. And I'm trying to hit anywhere into the eye socket, right? The eye itself, the orbital socket, the cheekbone, right? Obviously, if I was standing over here, it would be to the temple area like that, okay? Into the nose, and catch and bang, like this. Okay, so don't try to hit with a slapping technique like this. This is more of a power strike in nature, right? Just get your arm up quickly, emphasize the speed. So as you get more comfortable, you want to get to here as quickly as you can, right? So you might start out 1, 2, right? 1, 2, right? Then it may just go here. No matter what you do, you're going to have to get this elbow up and then deliver it, like so. Okay, so that is the third palm strike, which is a horizontal palm strike coming off the rear side of the body. Bang, right to here like this. Okay, go ahead and give that a shot, and we'll go on to the next one. The fourth palm strike is called a palm hook strike. Now this palm strike is a circular strike in nature, and it can emphasize both isolating the wrist, and hitting more with a slapping type of variation. Okay, now this strike in nature, again, is going to have more power just because of the velocity and the distance is coming up, right? Remember, more distance potentially allows me to hit with more velocity. So the reason why we use this strike as well is because I need a technique that allows me to go around a person's arms. If their arms are in my face, they're pointing at me in here, right? He's doing this, or maybe he's grabbing my throat in here like this, or he's standing in a fighting stance in here. And without having to step around him in here and deliver a straight punch in here, I need something that can kind of go out and curl around in here, like I'm doing like a cable fly, and bring across the center of my body like this. So the focus of the target we're aiming here is anywhere into the ear, the temple in here, the jawline, right, in here, the cheek in here, right, catch him anywhere here like this. Okay. So again, you're gonna rely on a lot of this rotation in here. All right. The key points with this strike in here is you want to keep the hand and the wrist and the forearm aligned like this. Now again, depending upon your flexibility in here or the height, right, you want to get this forearm, and elbow parallel to the floor. All right. You don't want to hit like this. Okay. This is not the same technique. This is basically a vertical strike. Palm strike, strike number 2, delivered across the body like this. This one you want to come out and you want to curl your way in. Okay, so from here it would look like this. I'm going to bring the arm from here. I'm going to bring the arm up, out here, get the elbow parallel, keep the hand open like this, let the wrist kind of fold naturally where it wants to, and then twist and kind of bicep curl my way in, right here. Right? Bang, like this. Okay? Here, boom. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to keep the elbow down and try to hit like this. You'll really put your wrist in a bad spot and shoulder in here. Alright? So you want to take advantage of a lot of your pectoral muscles in here that pull the arm across the body. Right? And the biceps in here like this. Right? Very similar to a dumbbell fly or a cable fly in here. Okay? So from here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the arm out. And I'm going to just rotate and just hit with a slapping motion. Not trying to concentrate on specifics right now, just here. Okay, don't bring the arm from down here. Don't bring it out where you can see it. Just bring it out just enough to go around his arm, right, in here. So you're going to have to imagine, where his arm is if you're not doing it against a partner in here, right? Let the hand palm strike finish where it finishes. So it may go through 3 to 6 inches, and just make a circle right back in here. Get your hands right back. Okay? There. Relax again in here like this. So from this angle, right? Arm out, twist, there. Relax, hands up. Right? Again, try to make a nice kind of rounded motion where you feel like your whole body is just yanking through the target. Don't try to make this so fast where you're going like this. See how the elbow stays down? Okay? Now, if you're going to try to hit more with the emphasis on that point right here, all I'm going to do is just angle the wrist back as I bring it out. So as I bring it out, all I'm doing is going clunk to right here. And I'm emphasizing hitting with that bone wherever I think I'm going to hit. Okay? So you can hear the difference in here like that. Alright? But the mechanics of the arm don't change. You're just unscrewing the weapon, right? And then putting on a different one, right? Right? Hitting here. Hitting here. Okay, so go ahead and practice both those variations, starting out with the speed version first, the slapping version first. Right? Now if it's coming off the rear side of the body, right, same thing applies. All I'm doing is bringing my arm out, twisting, leaning on the front leg, coming across my body here. So I'm here, locking the wrist in more. Okay? Pretty simple. Go ahead and give it a try. The 5th palm strike is what I call a back palm strike. Now the back palm strike is basically a backhand, like a tennis swing in here. Right? So in other martial arts training, the people have hammer fists in here. They have back fists in here like this. Right? There's even called a side palm in here, which is one of the ones I'm going to show in here. But a back palm strike is basically taking the palm and inverting the thumb downward and hitting with the entire mass of the hand, like this, okay? Now this one takes a little bit of more strength in here because the problem with doing this is that you don't have the the rear delt muscles in here. A lot of times they're very weak when it comes to, and tricep muscles are weak in this position. A lot of times we're strong in this position because we got gravity in here, right? Or like when we throw that palm hook, this is the opposite of the palm hook, right? As I finish the palm hook through here, what I'm basically doing is I'm just coming back the other way. Okay, so if I palm hook here, and from here, I'm just extending back the other way. Okay, so this one takes a lot of speed, a lot of velocity, right? You don't have the bone structure behind it to brace against in here. Okay, so you're gonna have to be really loose with this in here, right? But this is another basic and effective technique. And you have to think about, wherever you are in a fight, right? If I got pushed off balance in here like this, right? What would be the fastest strike that you could deliver that you could get it right back on this guy, right? It certainly wouldn't be trying to square up in here and do something like this, right? Or what if I missed with this palm strike? Whoa, and I found myself out of position, right? From here, all I need to do is deliver that technique and just catch him right in the face somewhere in here. So I'm trying to keep the elbow, again, relatively parallel to the ground, right? Now this can angle like this, if I need to in here, right? But what I'm trying to do really is I'm just trying to bring the elbow through the center, all right, of this in here, right? So from here, I'm going from here 1, and then I'm going 2, right? 1, 2, right? 1, and then 2. And I'm trying to use some degree of my body weight if I can. So from here, line up on the target, right? I'm going to start from here. We get to here. 1, and then from here, all we're going to do is just unhinge this elbow and deliver it from here. So really loose. Do not try to sit here and muscle this thing in. You'll slow down. Okay. I would say this is probably the weakest of all of them. Okay, unless you're like in motion here like that, right? You can get it going, reverse the speed. But if you're starting from a dead stop position in here, right? You got to get to here very quickly and then get to here very quickly, right? In here like that. So it takes a lot of practice in here. And if you have really tight shoulders, or maybe you don't have the strength in here like this, right? This is sometimes really hard to do, right? But it is another strike in the arsenal that you need to be able to deliver. Okay. So from here, 1, 2, 1. Other hands up for protection. Bang. Okay, what I want to make sure I do not do as well is I don't want to bring the technique way over here like this, right, where I'm on this side of the target and then try to just sit here and hyperextend my elbow, right? You see that? Plus, I didn't create any body weight behind it, so I want the elbow kind of pulling through the target, right? The line of power for this strike is coming this way. It's coming across here. It's making this X, this way, right? Or if you're delivering it, right, this way. So if you're delivering it off the lead side of the body, you can kind of use your leg to push a little bit in here, right? 1, and then 2, right? And then you just try to round off the corners in here like this. If you do it from the back side, the rear side, this is even more complex because you don't have the drive. You don't have a drive leg here to drive you at this 45-degree direction. So what you have to do is you have to twist a little bit in here. Right? So, that's obviously a big motion in here, right? But you're trying to condense it down as you get better in here. Once you can kind of get the accuracy down and understand kind of where your body moves, and you try to strip away all unnecessary actions, right? So, this is also a great technique when I'm not facing my adversary, right? Let's say I'm facing here, right? Or I'm facing here. All I have to do, because this is a very multi-directional technique, all you got to do in one motion is just turn, bang, and I'm there. Right? Someone grabs me or pushes me, I find, right? In here like this. Right? Even if I don't even hit him with the palm. Right? Great technique in here, because even if I catch him with the forearm, right, which is another technique itself, maybe I catch him with the back of my tricep in here. Right? The mechanics are still relatively the same. Right? Or if my hands are folded like this, like I say, I'm talking to a person, or maybe he grabs me in here, my hand is right here. I'm already in a position, I got more distance, I just go from here like this. So if my hands end up being here, there it is. Alright? So that is the 5th palm strike, which is a backhand palm strike in here, okay? This one I don't really emphasize that hitting with the bone so much in here, okay? I think I forgot to admit that, say that in the beginning of that. This one I'm just trying to create quick velocity in here like this, right? More of a stunner than a knockout here. I'm talking like, bang, right? And then boom, and then I hit him with a hard one. All right, so go ahead and practice the 5th one, the backhand palm strike. The 6th palm strike is what I define as a side palm strike. And this is very similar in mechanics to the previous one, the backhand palm strike. Again, all we're doing is we're unscrewing the weapon and we're putting on something else. And now the side palm strike in here, right, is delivered, I primarily deliver it with the bone, the under bone here, right where the kind of the palm kind of goes, the edge of the palm here goes into the wrist in here, right, and delivering across in here like this. And this one here, emphasizing again, hitting with that specifics, bang in here like this, right, as opposed to just hitting with a slapping type of technique in here. So this one is going to probably create a heck of a lot more damage in here. This one I kind of recommend to hit along the cheekbone in here like this, right, into the socket, the eye socket here to the temple, right, in here, right, but it's going to hit wherever it's going to hit, okay? So a lot more focus on just hitting with a specific in here like this, okay? But the same thing applies. So here, you know, facing the audience in here, what this will look like is I got to get to here again, right, in here, and I got to bring this across my body, locking my wrist down in here, right, bang, hitting under here. I like to kind of come under with this bone right here. I don't try to hit with the edge like this. Try to stay away from this part, even though that may happen, but you're likely to really damage your hand. So I really try to kind of angle the bone, the hand palm towards at me like this, and boom, deliver it in here. So from here at this angle, coming here. This could be also into the throat, right? But basically anywhere you can, right, in here like this. Again, stay relaxed. Get the arm over here as fast as possible. Don't flex the deltoid, right? And then deliver it in here like this, right? So this one is something, again, that can be used from here, right? However you're at. My hands are folded like this. I'm talking to a person. Here, get back up, relax in here, right? And I just deliver it from there, okay? So if it was from the rear side of the body, again, you're going to have to fold this arm more and create more of a twist in here and use primarily a lot of velocity in your snap your torso in here like this, okay? All right, so I could throw a palm hook, then invert my hand, and come back with a side palm, come back with a backhand palm, right? I could throw a palm hook here, bang, bang, right? Bang, 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 bang. Okay, so I can kind of create like a helicopter effect, boom, 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 in here like this. All right, as you get more comfortable with it, you know, start playing around with switching back from backhand to side palm, right? You know, aim, bang, here, and then, right, or just bang, get his attention, and then here and go, oh, okay, right in the jaw, boom, in here like this, or in the throat. Okay, so again, make sure that you kind of lock this bone down right here, not trying to hit here with the actual pad of the hand, the side, you know, the lateral part of the hand in here like this. I want to hit more underneath, boom, right? It doesn't have to be completely horizontal, it can be angled like this, right? It can be even coming upward in here, right? Right here, boom, you know, like that. Okay, even the backhand, right? Coming under the chin in here, someone were to grab me here, all right? So that's the 6th palm strike, a side palm strike. Let's go on to the next one. The 7th palm strike is called a vertical palm strike. Now this palm strike is going to be used primarily in closer ranges in here. All right. This is very similar mechanics to a traditional boxing type uppercut, where the uppercut is thrown into the chin, right, or into the solar plexus in here. This one we're going to primarily aim into the throat, into the chin area like this. Okay. Now this one, I like to keep the palm slightly angled, so that's kind of like that horizontal. I don't really like, you know, you can come up vertical in here. The problem I have found in the past with this is that a lot of people end up catching like this. And what I want to do with this, I want to get this palm right up his body like this. for several reasons. A, I'm going to lift his head back, and two, what's going to happen is I can put my wrists in a stronger position. If I hit like this, I've found people tweak their, bend their wrists back, or they hit here like this and bend their fingers back. Number three is it's very, very hard to stop when it's coming completely underneath, because most people, are going to try to reach out and block in here. So if I bring the technique from under here, kind of like this, he may be able to collapse on top of it. But I found it very effective to be right underneath the guy in here like this, right? Because most people are not going to be ready for something coming right here, especially somebody who's got no training. Somebody in the street who's drunk, or just some thug, they may, grab you in here like this, and their arms may be in the way, right? His arms may be in the way. You may not be able to come underneath it like that. But if I can come underneath in here and deliver it like this. Now, this is one hellacious blow, in my opinion, because it puts a lot of stress on the back of the base of the skull and the brainstem in here like this, snapping the head back. There is nowhere for their head to go. So I'm going to make sure that I deliver the technique and get as close as I can into the throat in here, and just kind of cup the hand like that. So I'm here, and what I'm doing is all I'm doing is dropping this down. I'm either here or I'm getting there. So I'm here, I'm just dropping down, bending kind of in a semi-squat, and just delivering it from there, right? Like that. Okay? Whomp. Right? I'm not pulling it back. I'm not coming like this. Okay? Obviously don't do that. But I'm just pulling it down just enough. That's all I need. Okay? You can also be, done with a grab. Someone's grabbing you in here. I have to grab back and stabilize. Right? Okay? Use some legs in it. Right? Multiples. In here like that, right? Just from here like this. And then from there, right, I'm able to hit and then grab his eyes and drive his head back, right? Bam! It's all just right there, right? Pop him in the throat, right? Maybe his head goes back, right? Then I redirect, I pull my hand back in here, right? Then I smash him with a vertical one, right? Or I go bang, his head goes back in here like this, right? Then I smash him with an elbow or something in here, right? Or his head goes back in here like this, right? And then I maybe punch him in the throat with a fist strike or something if you have that kind of training. But the basic concept is, if I did it from the back and foot in here, my hands are up close and chin down, I just get this arm close to his chest as I drop, whomp, right? Right? So if you're shorter and you're talking to somebody here, boom, it's right here like this. Think about just like doing, an overhead press in here, starting from here, right? A little bit of leg drive in here like that. Okay, so from here, just drop, underneath, like that. Right? Really emphasize on this one. You want to emphasize on locking that wrist down and hitting with that small area right here. Don't hit with a slapping action like this, and right, you really bust your wrist in yours. Remember, you're hitting a bowling ball. And it doesn't really go anywhere. Okay, so just from here, underneath. Switching my leg in here, like so. Alright, so that's the 7th palm strike, called a vertical palm strike. Go ahead and give that a shot. Okay, the 8th palm strike is going to be down in the lower extremities. Actually, the 8 through 10 are going to be more delivered into the body cavity in here, primarily to disrupt breathing in here. Okay, so the 8th one is going to be what I call a body palm strike in here. Right, so this would be a body punch, right? And this is going to be delivered with the palm is turned outward like this in a horizontal fashion, right? Not turned this way. Okay, you get a lot more articulation by externally rotating in here like this, and at least for me, in my opinion. So this one here, you're going to emphasize on kind of hitting with that solid bone area like this, right? You want to make sure that you're not hitting with the fingers or hitting with your hand contoured like this. Okay, so you can see more why I define them as palm strikes and actual slapping type strikes that are hitting with the palm, but not really emphasizing the lockdown and the smaller surface area in here. All right, so this one is relatively simple in here. Somebody's not ready for something like this. You may knock the wind out of them in here, and it may disrupt them for a moment where you can access another point, another target in here. Right. So from here, all I'm really doing is I'm dropping down, lowering my body, bending my knees, lowering my shoulder in here, right, my scapula, and I'm just delivering it right here, right? Again, I'm not trying to punch through their entire body in here, right? I'm not trying to come around. All I'm trying to do is just deliver it right below the xiphoid process in here, right into the entire diaphragm, just to get them to buckle in here like that. Okay, again, real quick in here, right, real short in here like that. Right, maybe my hand is right here already. You know, what's your problem in here? And I haven't got my hands up. I'm just right there, wah, like this, right? Twisting the body if you can, right? Okay, very simple. I could go wah, and then right from here, without withdrawing my hand back, I go boom, right, and then come right up, right from here like this. Okay, or I could go and then like so. Okay, you're going to have to obviously bring your hands away from your face a little bit, at least one for a moment, but this should be done quickly and very quickly, right? Don't try to wind up on this thing, right? So you want to, you know, I'm talking to you, listen, calm down, right here like this, right? You know, come up with the other hand, put the other hand in here like that, okay? Don't try to come downward, don't try to come upward, just come completely horizontal like you're going to throw a body punch. Want the forearm parallel to the ground. Forearm right behind the wrist, line with the elbow. Here, like that. Okay? From here, take it easy, drop, fire. Right? Same with the rear side. Take it easy, calm down, I don't want a problem. Drop, in here, like this. Again, try to make it quick, short, and deliberate. In here, like so. So that is a body palm delivered with the hand in a horizontal, externally rotated position. Bang. Try it. Number 9 palm strike is what I call a groin slap. Now this is probably the easiest one to do, in my opinion, in here, because it does not take much, and anybody, even a kid, could do this in here. So obviously this is attacking the groin here only, assuming he's upright in here. Right, now this also could be attacking the face if he was bent over. All right, so I'll show that here in a minute. But a groin slap is just opening up the palm in here like this. Not trying to hit with the specifics, so you don't have to. And I'm literally just smashing, slapping the groin. Right, you know, if you're a guy and you got hit in the groin, you know, just a flick in here, right, you're done. Okay, so it doesn't take much in here for somebody who's not as strong, small, or intimidated to just drop down and deliver that thing like this. All I'm doing is just bringing my shoulder forward in here and maybe a little bit of a twist. It doesn't take much. This one I definitely don't have to come back like a bowling swing, right? So from here, dropping my hand, and that's all I'm doing, right? When I work on something like this, I just kind of mimic where the groin would be. I'm not trying to kill it too hard or hurt my hand on this plastic in here. So when you practice this, you know, if you practice it with a partner, just be careful that you're just kind of walking through that idea in here, right? So really simple, really effective. Done this before in situations where, you know, they're just not ready. You know, nobody's really ready for that. With that, you know, kind of, you know, speed in here. So my hands can be down, right? I don't have my hands up, just right there like that. My hands are up. I'm going to drop with one, right? If my leg is back in here like this, same thing. I could step through and deliver it if you feel like you need to, but I should be relatively close, just a little bend in the knees, a little bit of snapping my hips forward and deliver it. And from here, again, you could literally go right into those in here like that, right? Like that, right? Wah, 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 right? Or boom, 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 right? Wind the hand back up, pop. All right, so you can literally kind of run down that right down the center. Bam, bam, bam. Right? Or come right like so. And then hit with some other techniques. So number 9, groin slap in here. Now if he's bent over, let's say for whatever reason, you got into a wrestling contest or something and you found yourself bent over like this, right, in here. Let's say you were hanging on, you didn't fall on your ass. The same thing could apply from here. I could come right up and deliver it right into the face, right? Wham! Right, that would make more sense into the face. However, now it would make also a lot more sense to isolate that palm, right? Really hit him with it like I'm an uppercut, boom, in here like this. Whether you're grabbing him or not, obviously I'm grabbing him so he doesn't tip over in here, but bang, in here like that. All right, if you were to find yourself in that. Right? But if you don't, the idea here is not to get connected with somebody, but it's just to literally, from here, is to access any one of these things in here, right? Just, right? Like that, right? That's all I need. So number 9, groin slap. Let's go on to the 10th and final palm strike. All right, the 10th and final palm strike is what I define as called a impact push. Now this one's a lot different than the rest of them because this requires 2 hands to do. So this is a high speed, 2-handed palm strike per se. We call it impact push because it looks like you're shoving somebody. Right? No, people don't push people with their fists, they usually use their hands. Very natural to reach out and to push away danger. Right? Now one thing about this one that's pretty simple to do as well is I got 2 hands. I'm not so out here to brace myself. I don't have to rely on a lot of opposing forces for balance so much. So very simple in here. What I'm really trying to do is create space for myself, or to push myself away from danger, or to push them away from me. Now this can be done to the face in here like this. I can deliver a 2-handed strike in here, but primarily we try to affect the upper chest area here to knock a person off balance in here. Right, now this is something that you want to do when a person maybe is not ready for you. So I want to advise you to use this technique as your first initial attack when somebody's standing here ready for you like this. They're probably not going to move too much. You want to catch a person when they got no drive leg, no support structure in here, right? Or maybe you've affected them with something else real fast. Maybe I've hit them in the face with that first palm strike in here, and then I push them off balance in here like this. Okay, so the goal with this is again to create that speed and shock. So when I bring my hands in position here, all I'm doing is taking them from here and driving them out here real fast. Trying to hit in the upper collarbone area, okay? Not out here in the shoulders. I definitely don't want to miss. I'm not hitting downward, and I'm not trying to scoop upward. I'm just trying to come straight out like a pushing action, like a bench press action like this, keeping the hands relatively vertical. Okay, so from here, slowly it looks like this. I'm going from here, bang, straight out. Here, bang. I'm going to step according to need, boom, help get some weight transfer. Right? Some locomotion, but all I'm taking from here, real quickly in here, and bringing my hands back. Right? So all I need to do is just shock his system from here, and then bang, bang, right, bang, and then go from there. Okay? I can also push myself off the person. Right? And step back and create space. Right? So a lot of people think they're going to move a person 10 feet. That's not the goal. Right? If it happens, it's part of because they're off balance. They mentally weren't ready for it, they're psychologically not prepared, or you're just super powerful and you just done that. I mean, I've done it, knocked people and seen their feet go like this, but that's not the goal though. Right? The goal is to create speed and shock. Right? So from here, I'm just bringing my hands out real fast. If I want to create more power, I can retract my hands back and get a lot more drive into it like that. So there is a power version of that palm, of that impact push too. There's a speed version and a palm, and a power version. But right now we're just trying to create speed in here and step back, right? Or here, right? Fire, fire, right? And fire, right? And fire. Okay, so that is the 10th palm strike and impact push. Just going from, don't let the elbows wing out. Just go straight out and back. From here, no swatting action, no coming up, no bringing the elbows out. Make sure you don't hit like this, right? Hit right in the collarbone, chest area to create that initial shock and hopefully get their spine a little more, beyond center here, where you can knock them off balance and bring the hands right back. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, if you did, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, right? In the description, if you find in the description of this video, you'll find a list of all my instructional videos in here. I have a playlist that are titled, different concepts and techniques for different martial arts situations, both street and MMA purposes. So if you're new to my channel, don't be afraid to check that out or share it with your friends in here. I also have instructional videos that are for sale that go in a lot more depth and more advanced concepts if you are indeed a seasoned martial artist, whether you're doing boxing or MMA. So again, my name is Rich Alton. This is Reality Fighter TV. Again, I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, bell in the corner, and we'll see you next time for the next video tutorial. Take care.